You're welcome back to the Arise interview with me, Christian, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Thanks for staying with us. It is no longer news that the spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, Ikenga Ugochinyere, is a loggerheads with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Ikenga had questioned the rationality or accused the leadership of the House of Representatives of collecting $10 million bribe from American billionaire Bill Gates to pass the Infectious Disease Control Bill. The Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, has since denied those claims. Following those allegations, Ikenga was arrested despite a court order restraining his arrest or detention. However, the opposition coalition said the Speaker of the House instigated the unlawful arrest of the spokesperson. After a week in detention, a high court in Abuja ordered his unconditional release. And for more details about his ordeal during his arrest and the controversial infectious diseases bill, I am now being joined via WebEx by Ikenga Ugochinyere, the spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties. Hello, Ikenga. Well, nice seeing you again. I mean, the atmosphere was quiet while you were cooling your heels in police detention, or where were you really taken to? You want to give us a bit of your experience?
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. I went to INEC to formalize procedure for my party's primaries in Edo and Ondo. So when I was coming out of INEC, I was ambushed by the officers who have laid the siege for me, and I was forcefully abducted without a warrant of arrest, smuggled into the car and taken away. I didn't even know where they were taking me to. We ended up at the force headquarters, and where they brought out a petition written by Femi Gbajabiamila and the clerk of the National Assembly, and asked me to respond, which I refused because the content of that petition, which is the resolution of the House of Representatives, was an illegal resolution in view of the fact that the court had barred them from making that resolution and also barred them from arresting me. So they took me to Maitama police station, where I was thrown into a 2-by-2 cell with other 35 suspects who were in detention. That was what happened.
How were you treated first at the police headquarters and in your detention cell in Maitama police station in Abuja?
Well, I would say the investigators at the force headquarters, the IGP monitoring me, we are a bit professional. Even though they made an attempt to, force me to reply to the frivolous allegation, but they were professional. But the way they adopted me was very unprofessional. It was very forceful, and nobody knew where they were taking me to until we got to the force headquarters. And at the Maitama police station, to be honest with you, the police officers at the Maitama police station treated me with a high level of professionalism. Just that the detention condition, which is the cell in the Maitama police station, was overcrowded. And the COVID period we're in, we're having over 35 people in detention for minor offenses that are available, poses a great health risk to them. And the idea of the open toilet system being inside the place and, the mosquitoes and all that, it was horrible, being in that place. But they treated me professionally. For that facility is, inhuman, it's not good for human habitation.
Okay, well, that's a passing phase of being an activist and the rest and wanting to fight for the people. Now, let's go to the subject matter, which is the $10 million accusation you've alleged that the speaker had been bribed. How would you want to expatiate with that? Any documentary evidence, or is it just because of the fallout, some of the content of the COVID bill that is being stepped down for now in the House of Representatives?
Well, even though I don't want to go much details, because now we have a criminal trial that is ongoing, and I'm going to have my full day in court to prove those allegations. But I would say that everything about the infectious disease bill is compromised. The plagiarism of stealing it from Singapore without making much changes, the idea of trying to pass it in 30 minutes, which, civil society group, governors forum, Christian and Muslim group rejected. Everything about the bill was highly compromised. And I want to tell you that in moving further to prove this allegation, by tomorrow, I will be making a move at the magistrate court where I'll be asking for the account details of Femi Gbajabiamila and that of other principal officers of the National Assembly and the 360 members of the House of Reps, because I will need to have access to the accounts of these lawmakers for me to be able to prove that majority of them are living above their means, majority of them have access and resources which might be proceeds of corrupt act like the ones in question. So I'll be asking for, and I hope they do not object, because this will help us to get to the root of all these issues. I will have my day in court, and in order to make it seamless, I'll be requesting to have access to all the accounts operated by members of the National Assembly, including that of their wives and children, and also their code of conduct form. And I can tell you, my brother, this trial is going to be a big eye-opener. It's going to be very interesting in the days ahead. And like I said before, I'm going to have my day in court, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not intimidated, because this trial will help to expose a whole lot of things that have been going on.
Well, Ugochinyere, one would want to look at your status as, a key opposition figure, not only to this administration and some of its principal officers, thereby saying your actions as biasly motivated and not for the good of the country, that you're just, trying to drag this Gbajabiamila and maybe other senior members of this government in the mud?
No, I think I will disagree with you. It is Gbajabiamila that have personal issues. For me, it's all about the law and good governance. You need to understand that what brought us to this point is the issue of the criminal summons I obtained against Femi Gbajabiamila at the upper area court. And what was the reason for that? It was because the speaker was convicted for dishonest acts, something that is in the public domain. I got a satisfied true copy from the Supreme Court of Georgia. And I said a man that has been convicted for a dishonest act cannot be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. There is nothing personal about this issue. And I went further to now say his INEC from CF001, when he was asked whether he had been convicted of any dishonest act in the last year, he said no. And that form is under oath, which is perjury. And that was why I had expected that the Speaker should have subjected himself to the jurisdiction of the upper area court. But what do you have? The Speaker started running helter-skelter to go and obtain an order from the Federal High Court to stop that criminal procedure. And we are at the Federal, at the Appeal Court. So you can understand that the Speaker is one that is trying to make this person, trying to intimidate me to abandon this cause that I'm pursuing, which is for the good of the Nigerian people, that we must have credible leaders in position of authority. And you need to know the high level of damage that this thing did to the woman in question. This woman had an accident, lost her 2 legs and hand, and Femi was not her lawyer. So he misrepresented this, he misrepresented the whole thing and got access to this woman's $25,000 and ran away to Nigeria. At the point the Supreme Court of Georgia was about convicting him for dishonest act, he accepted that he did it. And that's why they gave him a lesser sentence of 3 years debarment from the bar. So this is something that everybody knows, but because the government decided to look the other way so that they can use it as a leash to hold him. So there is nothing personal about it. It is him that is trying to make this personal. And I will not want to be distracted by that. I am focused, the opposition is focused in ensuring that the parliament is clean and credible and responsive leadership is put in place. Nothing personal about it.
Let me ask you, why the upper area courts? Why didn't you start from the High Court, whether the FCT High Court or the Federal High Courts?
We have a case at the FCT High Court. At the upper area court had jurisdiction to try those issues of perjury. So, and as an individual, that is the only place I could go to get the criminal summons issued against him. So it is within the ambit of the law. The upper area court had jurisdiction. But instead of him subjecting himself to that process, he was running from one court to the other looking for an injunction. Just like a day before yesterday, I subjected myself to the jurisdiction of the Chief Magistrate Court in Wuse because I have nothing to fear. And I had expected him, now that he dragged me to the Chief Magistrate Court with the police, he should be man enough also to come to the upper area court so that these issues of perjury can be decided. And this whole thing they are doing cannot distract us from the agenda of having him in the dock. to ensure that young leaders who are growing up will know that there will be consequences for dishonest act. And to come to think about it, knowing that such a person who has been convicted of dishonest act is sitting as the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, has defended even every Nigerian, because the foreign countries are seeing Nigeria as a dumping ground for people that have shady past. How can a man convicted of such an offense be presiding over the Nigerian parliament and people are allowing him go to work every day? So it's nothing personal. This is for the good of the country, for us to have a national value. As a nation, we must have national value. There must be a minimum brand for leadership. Not all kind of people should be find themselves leadership. And that is why today, they say we accuse them of calling them political hallelujah, but we don't call them political hallelujah boys for nothing. They have refused to checkmate the executive. And that is why you see insecurity in the land, you see economic crisis in the land, and you see a situation whereby $5.5 billion, $22.7 billion can be approved by the parliament in less than 30 seconds without asking questions. My brother, this is unfair to the country. But because you have a speaker that has some questionable past, and I say it very boldly, he cannot be man enough to face the Buhari regime. And that is why we need to use the institution of the judiciary to reclaim the parliament. And with the support of committed parliamentarians, we can achieve that in the days ahead.
Okay, time will tell, and the courts definitely would have the last say in deciding all this. But you seemed really vexed with the institutions, vexed with the current political situation, economic situation?
Yes, because it's not just me, every Nigerian out there. How do you have a country where bandits have taken almost 28 states in the country? And the president keeps saying, I have given marching order. Since 5 years, the president is saying, I have given marching order. I'm so bitter because under Section 14, the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and property. Any government that cannot protect lives and property, with all due respect, is useless, is of no use. And that is why we are saying that Nigerian people should start demanding for more. If you go and recruit service chiefs, including the ones whose tenure have expired, and you decide to keep them in office, it must be because they are doing fantastic work. But if they are not doing fantastic work, then why are you keeping them? People are being killed every day, both on ethnic grounds, on religious grounds, on all sorts of things. The country is drifting into a state of complete anarchy, and every Nigerian should be concerned.
All right. Every Nigerian should be concerned. A good place for you to apply the brakes before to take some messages. Ikenga would be back with you. You're still watching the Rise interview. We've got plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Rise interview. We're live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Christian Ogdo. Thanks for staying with us. Let's return to Ikenga Ugochinyere. He joins us via Webex. He's the spokesperson of the CUPP. Now, Ugo, you were talking about the security situation in the country, how bad it has become or how it has deteriorated. But the military hierarchy, led by the Chief of Defense Staff, has begun, remapping tactical strategy to, snuff out the insurgents, the terrorists, the bandits, and the kidnappers in the country. And they've started from Katsina, where about 20 choppers have been, deployed there, clearing the forest where these bandits use and the rest. Dito, the Chief of Army Staff, is given marching orders to his commanders, the GOCs, field commanders, and corps commanders to lead the front directly in the battle against terrorists. And this good enough to give some hope that things would be better.
Anybody that will take that as hope, I don't know the word I'm going to use, marching order. That is the same thing the service chiefs and the president have been saying in the last 5 years. When it has to do with Abuja, Kaduna, they give marching order, they use helicopters, they say they have cleared the place of 15,000 bandits. Can anybody follow that express, the Abuja, Kaduna road now? They gave the same marching order in Sokoto, they gave the same marching order in Yobe and in Borno. In short, at the point they said they have technically defeated these bandits and terrorists. These are usual English words. I think they have a computer in the service chief's office and presidential villa where they copy it and paste it because it's the same format. Marching order, the president sympathizes, who will deal ruthlessly with the bandits. These are traditional words that have been using in the last 5 years. So if anybody takes that as a ray of hope, as something that will keep you safe in Nigeria, I think that person is joking. The point is that for 5 years, they have presided over the security of this great country, and all of them have fared woefully. You don't need to massage it. That is the simple truth, because nobody's going to apply those highways without being taken by these bandits. As a matter of fact, government knows these bandits. They meet with them all the time. Why not root them out? Is it that we don't have the equipment, or something is wrong somewhere, or some people are enjoying seeing people being killed all over the country? As long as the security of this great country is concerned, the president and the service chiefs has woefully failed. You don't need to paint it. But why is the president getting away with this failure? It is because you have a weak parliament. It is because you have people who think that for them to eat their dinner, they have to dance to the tune of the executive. Because you don't have a responsive parliament, you don't have a parliament that is asking questions, you don't have a parliament that wants to invoke their parliamentary powers, including impeachment and refusal to confirm appointees, as a way of getting the executive to sit up. That is why the president is comfortably arresting, and because they believe that Nigerian people doesn't have the capacity to demand more. So the problem is even Nigerian people who seems to be okay with the status quo. Because if this is not what we expected, if this is not what we have voted for, then you should hold their parliamentarians accountable to demand for more. Upon all the volume of resources, almost over $40 billion that have been borrowed, you see how the economy is. You see how the security officers are being treated. Look at the police officers, what has increased in their welfare. Look at the barracks, look at the equipment they are using. And we are pumping billions and billions of dollars into this project. So as long as I'm concerned, everything has collapsed, and we are heading towards total panic. And that is why I'm saying Nigerian people need to start demanding for more, to get our parliamentarians to sit up and stop behaving like most people are saying that they have political area. But with all the respect to the good ones that are there, there's a lot of them that are willing to sign and give out everything the executive asks without verifying, without asking questions. That is why you see with the billions that have been budgeted, it is not commensurate with the development we are seeing on the ground. The infrastructure is still weak. The security network and architecture is still very weak. Even the economy is collapsing. And also on the issue of unity and togetherness and cohesion, they sat idle in the parliament, and the president made appointment that went to the very foundation of shaking our national cohesion and unity. And they have nothing to say about it. They didn't wear their parliamentary power. But when it has to do with people like us who stand up to speak against suspicious legislation like the compulsory vaccination bill, they know how to make a resolution in 30 minutes and get the IG to bundle me in 2 minutes. But they don't know how to make legislation and get the government to get the bandits in Katsina, or the ones in Sokoto, or the ones raping and killing people in Delta. It is only when it has to do with people who are speaking against their impunity that they are very strong to react. So as long as I'm concerned, that statement that is coming from the service chief is not something that we should not take serious, because they have been there for over 5 years. And we are asking the president, why do you still keeping these people if they are not delivering on your agenda? Why is it that you are punishing the people? Is it that you enjoy seeing people being killed left, right, and center? The ridicule is not only national, it has gone international. Look at Ghana of yesterday, demolishing part of the Nigerian embassy. In international law, that is declaration of war. Even the opposition in Ghana, the MDC, is even protesting and castigating the government and fighting on behalf of Nigeria. But I just heard President Mohamed say that he will take the diplomatic channel. Somebody demolishes the Republic of Nigeria, which is represented by that embassy in Accra, and you are taking a diplomatic channel. By now, a good commander-in-chief would have addressed the nation, would have updated the citizens about what happened in Ghana. Parliament would have convened a joint sitting, and the president would have been summoned. Even if he can't stand up, they give him a seat to see that, to explain to us what happened in Ghana. By now, our navy should have been in international water, heading towards Accra to take part of Ghana. So that next time they will not do that. But here you see our commander-in-chief telling us that, oh, I'm going to take diplomatic channel. Can America go and demolish a part of Chinese embassy, or can South Korea do that to North Korea? They will not, because they know those leaders are very responsive. Now you have a leader that does not even command international respect. And that is why Ghana can do that. The last time Congo or whatever they call it threw away the properties of the Nigerian embassy because they don't have respect for us. That is why South Africa can be killing our people because they know that we don't have somebody who can speak to us. So there is a huge national collapse in terms of leadership quality that we are receiving today. And with all due respect, I must tell you that what President Mohamed Buhari is offering, what the APC is offering, what their leadership in the National Assembly is offering, to me is, with all due respect, is politically disgusting, and nobody should accept that as a standard.
Well, I'm sure the proponents of the president would agree and say that yes, he has great standing in the Committee of Nations. There isn't any doubt about that. Some of the proponents would even see Ugochinyere as a warmonger. But let us go to a bit of politics now. Well, there's nothing good you want to write home about the APC, but I'm looking at the Edo turf in the September elections. It's getting heated. Did your party submit, have you screened your governorship candidates and the rest, and how do you see the future of Edo?
Yes, we have done the screening. We're going into the primary, and we're looking at every option. But like I keep saying, it's not just about having the Edo election. It's about also putting in place measures that will not bring in another high level of electoral abracadabra like we had in Kogi and in Bayelsa. Because the problem now is not the political parties per se. It has to do with the ruling party and the government at the center interfering using the security agencies, which ends up messing up the entire process. And let me tell you why it pains us very much. Here you have a president that ran election for over 4 or 5 times, and each time he complains about being rigged out. He prayed for an opportunity to clean the electoral process. Now he is in power as president. My brother, let me ask you, are you proud that the same president that talks about credible electoral process all this one had a chance to make sure that we have credible process, and he could not sign the electoral act? He said he could not sign it because it's close to election. Now let us ask President Mohamed Buhari, assuming he's listening, now that the election is over, why have you refused to sign the amended electoral act to give the Nigerian people some foundation for credible election? So when you look at all this, double identity kind of behavior, you begin to wonder whether the president is truly what he claims he is. Because why up till now you have not signed the electoral act? That is one of the things that is increasing the desperations and giving the loopholes that is leading us into this electoral violence. So the foundation for credible election is still not there in Edo because the enabling framework he has refused to sign. And you have a security forces that are willing to take instruction from members of the ruling party. But my prayer is that let this Edo be a turning point. Let INEC stand firm on doing what is right, and let the people of Edo vote and defend. I want to remind Edo people, like they used to do in the past, the Benin Kingdom, that opposed the annexation efforts of the British. This is the time for you to fight like your forefathers, and that which you did to the British by resisting them, if you vote and like the Benin people that we know, defend your votes.
All right, sure. That's what all Nigerians and the people of Edo are wishing: defend their votes and let their votes count. It's nice to have you back again on the political turf. Ikenga Ugochinyere, chairman of the Committee of United Political Parties. He had joined us via WebEx here in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Thanks for being on the program. Well, that's it for this edition of the Rise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me, Christian Nogodo, and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.